Hello and welcome to America's premium cricket show, Cricket on Air, brought to you by Neo Cricket. We are your three hosts, Shri, Deepika and Himanshu, ready to take you on another fun-filled ride of cricketainment.
And let's start with our opening round, cracking up. Friends, I just heard that Katrina Kaif has started endorsing BDs these days.
Really?
Yeah. Have you ever thought what would be the similarity between Katrina Kaif and the BDs she endorses?
You know what? That is simple. They are both smoking hot.
Alright, I have one more for you and this time it is actually directly related to cricket, Shri.
Okay, go on.
Why is Martin Crowe not a true New Zealander?
Let me guess.
तू दिमाग पे जा जोर मत डाल.
अरे यार ये तो बहुत सिंपल है. Because New Zealanders are Kiwis, but he is a crow. Acha, now my turn. Name all the formats of cricket that are played nowadays in order of how long it takes them to finish.
Let me answer this. It's pretty simple, right? T20s finish in 3 hours, ODIs in a day, and Test matches finish in 5 days. What's the joke here?
अरे तू कौन से जमाने की बात कर रहा है श्री? The right answer is ODIs, Test cricket, and then T20s are the longest.
चल, क्या बात कर रहा है?
Do you have any idea how long this IPL is going on for? It's never ending, dude.
45 days of non-stop cricketing action.
Yeah, and there are like more than 72 matches.
I know. That's it for our opening round, cracking up, friends. When we come back, we'll take you on an interesting ride of cricket controversies. Stay tuned.
Welcome to America's premium cricket show, Cricket on Air, brought to you by Neo Cricket. Friends, you've probably heard Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." And that leads us to our story for today. We're going to talk about how this great game of cricket got involved in controversies. And where did our cricketers stand at times of challenge and controversy?
But you know, Deepika, the really big controversies are a bit serious in nature and also a little boring.
You know what? I think we should talk about some of the smaller, low-profile controversies. They're a little weird and oftentimes hilarious.
But are they interesting?
They're very interesting. Trust me.
Sounds great, gentlemen. So here I go, talking about mirchi and masala and controversy. The truly weird controversy that comes to my mind is that of Dennis Lillee and the aluminium bat.
Aluminium bat? You're talking about cricket, right?
Yeah, Dennis Lillee was a bit of a maverick, you know. I can imagine him thinking that the toughest of structures in the world are made of metal. You know,
Right.
Metals have strength and power, you probably know that, Shri.
Sure.
You need to hit the ball hard so that it can fly across the field.
That's true.
In that case, why not have a bat made of metal, you know?
Sounds reasonable.
Well, I say that Dennis Lillee was made of metal to carry a bat of metal. Anyway, you know guys, Lillee got the bat manufactured from a company.
Okay.
And
so
the-
he got a cricket bat made out of aluminium.
Yes, you heard it
Okay.
right, exactly.
Okay.
And the entrepreneur that he was, he came up with a very catchy name for it.
Uh-huh.
It was called Combat.
Wow.
मैंने सोचा आलू बैट बोलेगा, aluminium bat. Combat. All right. So, well, that is pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is, right? And in a test match against England, Lillee actually walked out to bat with this aluminium bat. No one knew what to expect from the bat.
Yeah, sounds very interesting.
Well, exactly. But there was a buzz all over the ground. Lillee drove the first ball. He played quite well. But immediately after that, the England captain complained that the bat was damaging the ball. Now, if things continued that way, it would be impossible to play. Probably we'll have to come up with a aluminium ball.
That would be
But
awesome.
when the umpires approached Lillee, he simply stood his ground. After all, there are no laws which suggest that the bat should be made of wood.
The funny part was that even Lillee's own captain, Greg Chappell, wasn't too excited with the aluminium bat. He wanted Lillee to play with a regular wooden bat and sent out the 12th man with a wooden bat for that.
That's funny. There's like
But-
one man standing and both his teams are his team and the opposition are both against him.
Hello. But Lily is not someone who listens to anybody, okay?
Exactly.
And after 10 minutes of confusion, Lily fiercely threw the aluminium bat, rather the combat or the aloo bat as I call it, and began playing with the wooden bat. So much for your own innovation. Like, you don't want to use your own innovation, so forget about anybody else adopting it.
Right. And this raised quite a debate about which bat is better. But a few months later, a law was made which made it mandatory that the bat should be made of wood. Welcome back, friends. I am Shri, and you're listening to Cricket Controversies on America's premium radio show on Cricket on Air, brought to you by Neo Cricket.
You are Shri, dude. तू यहाँ पे cricket controversy खड़ी कर रहा है.
Absolutely.
While they are switching names and trying to create controversies, guys, I really think, something that she was talking to me backstage about, umpires who get involved in controversies. And I really found that very interesting, Shri. So, you were telling me that story. What was that?
Exactly. So, straight out of the bat comes the story of the Shakur Rana and Mike Gatting incident.
What is this about, Shri? The Shakur Rana sounds like the name of a pretty fierce empire.
Exactly. So there was this match between England and Pakistan. At one point, the Pakistani umpire Shakur Rana accused the captain Mike Gatting of changing the fielder's position while the bowler was bowling.
Okay.
So that totally irritated Mike Gatting. There was some serious verbal blows between Rana and Gatting, and they were even pointing fingers at each other.
Which ones? No, just but it sounds like a pretty grim situation to me.
It really was, and the first reaction of anyone who was seeing it was, big deal, come on, so get on with the game.
Seriously.
So, but is it really possible to change the fielding position while the bowler is bowling? I mean, that's something.
No. So the law says that once the bowler starts bowling, no one should move. Like, the fielding position should be the same. No one can change it. And that's exactly what the umpire thought was not happening. He felt that Mike Gatting, being the captain, was actually changing the field while the bowler was bowling. But guys, this part was pretty reasonable. I mean, it's fine. Obviously, the simple thing to do is just get on with the games. But the funny part came after this. Players from the English team wanted Mike Gatting to move on and continue the game. But he was so upset that he just didn't want to listen to anyone. And to go away from his own players on the ground and in the dressing room, Mike Gatting just went and sat on the stairs outside the playing field.
Moody captain he
It
is.
sounds like he was
Moody
having...
Mike Gatting.
No,
Is that the name coming to my mind?
It's almost like he was having a moment.
It seriously was. And you should see this. We'll share this video on YouTube. You should see it. So there is this staircase which eventually goes to the dressing room, and just in between, Mike Gatting is sitting there doing nothing. He's not listening to anyone. He doesn't want to go and play on the cricket field. He's just sitting there doing nothing.
मुझे मेरी टॉफी चाहिए है.
Exactly. Or maybe the 12th man should have come out and they should have continued the game without him until he's back in
I
his
mean,
mood.
if the captain behaves like this, what's going to happen to the rest of the team?
चलो उसको छोड़ो यार. But what about Rana Sahab?
Yeah, Rana Sahab had a different take on the situation. He decided to go to the dressing room, and instead of thinking about it in a cool, composed manner, he just decided to go on TV. So he went on TV, he got a cameraman who focused on him and started talking in front of the camera. He said that Mike Gatting had used some really foul language against him. He wanted Mike Gatting to apologize to him, and only after that will he allow the game to be continued.
Wow.
Well, eventually common sense prevailed. Both guys calmed down and the game continued. It was really funny.
Time for a quick break, friends. When we come back, we are going to take you through another cricketing controversy. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Cricket on Air, friends. This is Shri, and we are talking about the story of cricket controversies today.
Guys, I'm reminded of another interesting incident that happened in a test match between India and Australia.
Oh, you mean the Harbhajan Singh Andrew Salmon's monkey game?
Or the poor umpiring of Steve Buckner in the same test match?
Arey nahi guys, I'm talking about an incident in 1981 at the Melbourne Cricket Ground.
Okay.
Long time ago, 1981, the series between India and Australia had already been troublesome.
Okay.
What's new, right? There were doubts cast over the umpire's partiality.
Okay.
Or impartiality, depends which side you're on. Well, in the last test match in that series at Melbourne, Gavaskar was facing Lilly. Sunny had played well for his 70 till then. And on this occasion, Lilly got the ball to swing into him and the ball hit Sunny's pads. Lilly went up, appealing for an LBW and the entire Australian team along with him. And then, guess what happened? The umpire declared Sunny out. But Sunny's contention was that the ball had hit his bat.
Well, LBW decisions are always difficult. Even if the umpire misses something for a split second, the decision just could change.
Yeah, it could. But then Lilly was also not a saint, really.
Exactly.
You know, he also turned to the umpire, put on quite a show, and pointed to the place where the ball hit on the pads of Gavaskar.
Correct.
And eventually gave Gavaskar quite an unceremonial send-off.
Like who? Is this the umpire giving it or the bowler giving?
This is the bowler giving, and that's exactly what infuriated Gavaskar even more.
I'm sure Gavaskar
I
would
think
have...
Lilly was being silly.
Right, exactly. And you know what? So Gavaskar was reluctantly walking back, and you know, Lilly was still going on after him. That just totally went off with Gavaskar. He was like, I can't take this anymore, probably. And what he did was the unthinkable. Not only went off the ground himself, he took the other guy at the other end off the ground with him.
Wow, this is getting interesting. So he just took the whole, like he wanted to forfeit the game?
Exactly.
No, Gavaskar just turned from batsman to an umpire there. Don't you understand?
Yeah, right, exactly. That too.
I mean, he just took everything in his hands. Like, I rule.
Well, he was the captain and he decided that his team would no longer play in the test match. So he was forfeiting the match.
And now he was taking the role of ICC.
That too. And then there was obviously a bit of confusion around. Only after the Indian team manager intervened and calmed Sunny down, the game continued. It would have set a precedent had Gavaskar's walk-off succeeded, honestly, guys.
Seriously,
I mean, come on. Somebody had to prevail. Like, some sense had to prevail. That the whole episode was total nonsense. So
Oh, and wait, this is the best part, guys. Gavaskar later on wrote in his book Idols, and I quote, "That walkout was the most regrettable incidents of my life. Whatever may be the provocation and whatever the reason, there was no justification for my action, and I realize now that I did not behave the way a captain and sportsman should."
You know what, guys? From 36 not out in 60 overs to this aggressive walk-off from the field for a bad decision, Gavaskar simply had his moments on the cricket field.
Yeah, he certainly did, Shri. And guys, when we come back, we'll talk more about cricketing controversies. Stay tuned. Welcome back, friends, to Cricket on Air, brought to you by Neo Cricket. I'm Himanshu, no controversies this time, Shri, and we are talking about cricket controversies today.
well, guys, talking of interesting and funny controversies, I certainly think Mandira Bedi and the 2003 World Cup should feature in it.
Absolutely. I remember when Sony TV had got the rights to telecast this World Cup, and back then ESPN Star Sports had almost set a benchmark as to how cricket matches should be televised, you know, with Harsha Bhogle, Sunny Gavaskar, Ravi Shastri, and of course our very own Sidhu Paji. ESPN Star Sports were big time leaders in cricket telecasts.
And I think that at that time, you know, something that is fresh and different would be to have a lady hostess as a telecast or broadcaster, you know. And I think this is the time when the choice was simply to take Mandira Bedi. Not only was she the host, she decided to project a very glamorous image of herself. I mean, I've seen her blouses, they are like deep. And, you know, if cricket sells and if there's any truth in sex sells, then this was going to sell. This was like a perfect marriage of the two. And she instantly connected with the masses with that message. And I think one of the matches, Sri, I remember, she actually decided to wear a sari, which was the Indian tricolor.
Exactly.
I don't know how cool is that, but that really was featured and took a bit of a media hype of it.
Well, it's a perfect recipe for controversies as well as some publicity, I would say, guys.
Exactly.
And you know, while many give Mandira the credit for creating a name for herself. The many others were there who questioned her way of doing this.
Seriously. Maybe she started the trend of actually adding glamour to cricket matches. Before this, there were always these gentlemen, suave, always in suits and ties.
Drinking tea,
Drinking
a cup of tea.
Cup of tea and 3 claps for every 4 and 6.
Right.
And saying, good shot.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. That sounds like a bit of a Sherlock Holmes to me, but Mandira set aside, even a slightly different trend of how glamour is now part of cricket telecast is how we see these cheerleaders, all these cheerleaders and the music that blasts and their outfits and all that whole festive, environment that's created every time a 4 or 6 is hit, or even when a batsman is out, is also something that glamour was added to this.
Yeah, exactly. And having cheerleaders also made a bit of a controversy, especially because the clothes they wore, or perhaps the clothes they didn't wear.
We'll talk more about interesting cricket controversies. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to America's premium cricket show, Cricket on Air, brought to you by Neo Cricket. Today, we are talking about the interesting stories behind cricket controversies.
And that takes me back to the first IPL, guys, where, if you remember, Sachin was injured for the first few matches. And in his absence, the Mumbai Indians were led by Harbhajan Singh. But he had no luck, poor Harbhajan. Mumbai kept on losing their matches. And after one such loss, Bhaji was given a little irritated.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fair enough, right?
Yeah.
Well, apparently, Srishant, who was playing against Bhaji, went to cajole Bhaji, and maybe his style of cajoling didn't quite go down very well with Bhaji. In a fit of rage, Bhaji slapped Srishant.
Wow!
I remember this one on TV, man.
I can imagine that, like someone going to Bhaji and saying, "Dude, we are so sorry you lost the match. I mean, you're a bad captain. Your team is playing pathetically. You can't bat, you can't bowl, you can't field. I'm so sorry you lost the match."
Excuse me.
Hard.
Exactly.
Shri, just don't say it loudly. Bhaji listens to you, you're gonna get one too.
Okay, guys, listen, there's more, okay?
Okay.
Now, you would think that a fist fight would have erupted.
Actually, yeah.
When such a thing happens, right?
Yeah, if someone slaps me, I'm going to slap him back.
Exactly. Well, not to be.
Okay.
Our good boy Srishant was heartbroken.
Okay.
He thought that Bhaji was his good friend. In fact, in one of his post-match interviews or something, when asked about this incident, he said he almost saw Bhaji like his elder brother or something.
Sure.
Right? But Bhaji had given him a tight slap. Right? So, Srishant's reaction? He wept and wept and wept and wept. And he's probably still weeping.
Yeah, I remember seeing that pictures.
There was a story that said that Srishant was crying because when the Mumbai Indians came off the ground, Preeti Zinta hugged everybody and left him aside, and so he was.
That's why he was crying.
Well, I'm sure I can imagine what would have happened. He saw that Preeti Zinta was actually hugging everyone else. So he thought he has to do something so that she'll come and hug him. So he went to Harbhajan and he must have said something bad.
Please slap me.
Please slap me. Harbhajan slapped him. And then he said...
And still Preeti Zinta
did it.
And then he cried more.
Then he cried.
That's why
he had
still
two reasons.
Alright guys, I
That
think
certainly was one of the moments of the IPL.
I know, we're having too much fun at the expense of poor Srishant. Anyway, that's it for this segment, guys. Let's wrap it up. We'll be back with the next segment soon after this break.
Welcome back, friends. You're listening to America's premium cricket show, Cricket on Air, brought to you by Neo Cricket. One of the controversies that I really remember vividly is of Afridi chewing the ball. He was playing this match against Australia, and he needs to now tamper the ball, so because they were losing and he wanted to give an advantage to his bowlers, and thinking that he can just dodge the national television, he just turns around, takes a bite, thinking that the ball is an apple, and just turns back and hands over the ball, and this thing is caught by all these cameras and splashed all over the world, and everybody's talking, and the next day the entire media frontline headlines were Afridi eats the ball.
Exactly. And I have another one. Remember the 2007 World Cup story where Flintoff was caught at 4 a.m. in a pedalo, and he was not exactly in his senses. Why? Because he was partying really hard with a bunch of his mates, and it had gone slightly overboard.
Right.
I mean, it sounds funny right now, but Flintoff was stripped of his vice captaincy, I believe, at that time.
Exactly.
And it didn't go. I'm sure it didn't go very well, and he had to issue a public apology.
I remember. In fact, I think the situation was pretty serious. So much so that because Freddie had gone onto a pedalo, they came up with a new name for that controversy. It was called Fredalo.
Oh yeah.
Well, I have one more incident that I can remember of. Bangladesh hasn't been the best of oppositions for quite some time now. People, or cricketers especially, don't really look forward to playing against Bangladesh.
They don't take them very seriously.
Right. In Australia, we're playing against Bangladesh, and after 1 or 2 one-dayers, Andrew Simons just lost interest in that series. He's like, what are we doing here?
He's getting now bored and
He just got bored. So one fine day, he woke up in the morning and he just went fishing.
What?
The match is still on?
Yeah.
He went fishing.
He just went fishing. He's like, I don't want to practice. What's the point of practicing against Bangladesh? Why should we do that?
He
just went fishing.
You know what would be awesome?
He would be like,
It would be so awesome if he goes to fishing and then over there he sits down on a spot and he says hi to somebody who's sitting next to him, and it turns out to be Muhammad Ashraful.
All right, that's too much laughter for us, friends. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Cricket on Air, friends. I'm Shri, and today we were talking about cricket controversies.
I am just giving a quick shout out to all of you listening to this show. If you would like to sponsor Cricket on Air, please send me email at deepika@cricketonair.com, and we look forward to connecting with you.
Also, friends, if you want to contribute your blogs, articles, or your views about cricket and want to be featured on cricketonair.com, send us an email to deepika@cricketonair.com.
And that's it for this show this week, guys. We will be back with another exciting episode of Cricket on Air, same time next week, right here on Cricket on Air. Until then, we are your 3 hosts, Shri, Himanshu, and Deepika, signing off.